What's going on, guys? I am Damos122, and this is the debut of Gaming Tales. Now, before I get started with the first tale, I want to make a few things known. First off, background gameplay is going to be as categorically similar to the said tale. I'm working with what I got. Second, I only have so much time to tell a tale, so it's going to be severely condensed with a lot of details left out. Third, if you have any questions about the said tale, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you. Fourth, if you've had any similar experiences of any kind with any game, be sure to put them in the comment section down below because I would really like to know. So without further ado, Gaming Tales. Smash Bros. 64 to me was the perfect release game that had the hype and the deliverance on that said hype. I mean, when you got mascots holding hands, going through a meadow, and then they just start fighting one another, that's something that would catch your interest. So I was at school one day and I was talking to my friend Van about it, which the game had already came out. And I said, wouldn't it be cool is if you're on Star Fox's stage and then R-Wing buddies come on down and just shoot the place up, probably shooting combatants and whatnot. And he confirmed that. He said, I got the game. So if you want, you can come on over to my house and play it. I was like, all right. So I head on over to his house. We queue up the game. I watch the intro. I get hyped from the intro. The intro. Then I went to the versus menu and saw the roster of 12. Fox McCloud was the first character I chose. And from that point on, Van and his little sister showed me the ropes and made me the Smash Brothers player I was at the time. So after being shown the ropes by Van and his little sister and eventually getting the game for myself, I continuously went on over to Van's house, playing him just to play, but eventually the competitive spirit was like, it's time to try to beat these guys. And I managed to beat his little sister, but I could not beat Van. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how many times I went home, I came back thinking I was going to get him, but I didn't stress out too much because I was like, I got all the time in the world. Until plot twist, Van and his family moved away. So I'm back at home playing one player mode, bored out of my mind, until another friend of mine named John reached out and he said that he had four friends that came over to play Smash Brothers all the time. And he invited me to be a part of the sessions. So I go on over there and I meet up with John. He introduces me to his four friends. And I'm just going to call them randoms for the rest of this story because I don't remember their names. So John is trying to be big dog when it comes down to this whole gaming session and whatnot. I mean, it is at his house, so he had it in his mind that he was the best player. So he tells me I have to take on the four randoms before I earn the right to fight him. I'm like, okay. So I took on the four randoms. I win. I took on John. I win. We played free for all. I win. We played team battles. I win. This will make sense later. But because of the gameplay and because of I was winning all the time, the randoms actually enjoyed my gameplay and my company. The reason for that was that John had this attitude that they didn't quite like, so they could not necessarily knock him down a peg or two, but I did knock John down a peg or two. And as the sessions went on, eventually their gameplay got good that they were actually knocking John down and putting him essentially at the bottom of the totem pole. From that point on, John went through a character crisis, and we're going to pause him right there because he's there for a good little minute. So now that we have been playing sessions upon sessions, the randoms have now deemed that John is no longer a threat. If he's losing to the randoms and me, he stays at the bottom, they can be happier. Again, I didn't know what attitude he had until later. So eventually they get tired of me coming over to the house and winning all the time. So they enact a plan to try to take me down. But they can't beat me in 1v1s. I'm winning in free for all. I'm winning in team battles. I mean, I'm the Smash Brothers king. So I honestly think they had a secret squirrel meeting because this was just too autonomous. It was too planned out, too calculated, too whatever you want to call it. Because during a free for all match, they all turned on me. A 1v1v1v1 turned into a 1v3. When they did this, they knocked me down to fourth place that game session. And with that little tack, they took away my Smash Brothers crown. I was fourth place for the rest of the game session, but after that first fight, I instantly had a thought as to how I can combat this. So after the session, I went home and I began a training regimen. While doing the training regimen, I've been going over to John's house to see my training bear fruit. And slowly, I started claiming third, second, and eventually first place. And I am now back on top as a Smash Brothers king. So, with the return of the king came the end of John's character crisis. He decides that he will now start playing as Fox McCloud. Now, that was a personal strike. Now, before I go on, I want to make note that ever since I went over to John's house, everybody had their own character. John was Mario, I was Fox, and my friend Ace that I brought along, he was Samus. And the randoms were four random characters. You can try to figure it out if you like. Nobody tried to play anybody else's character because it was understood that they were yours. So when he picked Fox, I told him he can't do that. He decides to go ahead and pull rank as such. He says, my game, my console, my rules. So I told him, you're about to catch a bigger ass whooping with Fox than you ever did with Mario. So with me being angry, I was also blinded by ego and pride. He was catching everything that I had to offer, and he was taking it all. But much like what I did with the randoms and their gameplay, I did for him as well, but it was to a much, much greater level than it was with the randoms. So much so that at first it was John, the randoms, and then me until that game session was over. And then it was me, John, the randoms, and then eventually me, the randoms, and John. And then Ace gets thrown in there as well. But now it is me, John, Ace, and the randoms. So I more or less helped him get to what he wanted to do. Didn't mean to. As I'm no longer blinded by ego and pride, I continue my bid against John. Now, in one particular session, he just calls out that he's the best Fox player. That was strike two. I was like, you cannot be the best Fox player if you're losing to a Fox player. So his friends laugh at him for making that statement, and so he changes it to say, if you cannot beat him, then you cannot beat me, and he is the only one worth the challenge. Now, I don't know how the randoms felt, but that was a strike three because you're having your friends come over here to play with you, and you're going to tell them that they're not worth fighting. I was like, okay. So I didn't fight him for 2 months. So realizing that I needed a replacement character for Fox, I ended up finding two. One was Captain Falcon from F-Zero, and the other was Link from Ocarina of Time. Captain Falcon was way too fast for me to go ahead and handle, so I just let the mantle fall down to Link, and I began training with him for 6 weeks. 2 months passed, and me and Ace go on over to John's house, and I challenge him to an all-or-nothing fight with Fox. In this fight, we had a stock of 5. We went to Sector Z. I won the fight with a stock of 3. When the fight was over, I said that I am never going to play as Fox ever again. So I challenged him with my debut character, Link, and I said he's going to embarrass Fox, and I'm going to knock him out to a 5-star KO. And this was simply knocking him out for every stock to the left, to the right, through the bottom, through the top for a screen KO, and through the back for a star KO. I had nothing on the screen KO. That was completely RNG. I did it. Thing was, I had a stock of 1 left over. And John, being salty, he says that for a character that's supposed to embarrass mine, he said for you to win with 1 stock, you are a better Fox player than you are a Link player. I was like, okay, so we went ahead and we played a 3rd match. This time we went to Link's Hyrule stage. And I said, this time, no restrictions. I beat him with a stock of 4 left over. After our 3rd consecutive fight and me coming out on top, all 3, the randoms wanted to take me on with my new character as well. And I went ahead and I told them tips and tricks and strategies to use against John's Fox in particular. They seemed to be very grateful for it because it did knock John down a peg, made them easier for him to beat. But that will do it for this tale. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope the quality wasn't too bad, and I hope you enjoyed the background gameplay. So until the next tale, you guys take it easy.